Now you can see we have a panel 600 along the x-axis, we have it 300 along the y-axis, and we've got it 19 mil thick here in the z-axis. It shows up on here on our workpiece, 600 by 300 by 19. We now have, that's our panel size. It doesn't represent anything. The cutters don't know where to go. We need to draw a line for the cutters to follow, like a little road map. So now we need to start on our drawing here. With AutoCAD or CNC programs, we have to start the cutter in the middle of a line or any straight area. Because when the cutter comes down, it's going to ramp in like you would see a duck flying in onto water. It comes down on a curve and it goes down at a diagonal till it reaches its proper depth. So therefore we need to start it on the straight area of a line. If we do it here on the corner, it could come down and through another panel, so we don't want that. That's why we started in the middle. Our routering always goes anti-clockwise on our drawing. And the reason is because the router cutter goes clockwise, so we need to have the cutter going into it like we would a hand router, so that's why we go anti-clockwise. Our start point, we use this little star here with a circle, and we click on that, and now we need to put it into the center of this line here. I want to explain to you parametric programming. Parametric programming is, if I have my start point here as x divided by 2, I'll make that x divided by 2, you would put x, I have to put L, and then I go tab. Now you can see my circle with a cross, it has placed itself in the center of that line there. And I don't know whether you can see it, but we're 3 mil off because that's that 3 mil we cut off for the panel. If I change that panel here in the work size, let's say I change that to 800 and then went enter. You can see that that start point is still in the center of that line regardless of how big the panel is. It's quite a good feature having parametric programming. You can do it with drilling or you can do it with placing of hinges, etc. I'll just bring that back to 600. Press enter. Now we're 600 panel, we're still in the center. We've drawn our first line, we've gone halfway, so that's x divided by 2, which gives us that point. Y is the depth, so how far it is from front to back. So 0 is the front, and that's our first point. We need to draw a line to the anti-clockwise position here. So if we're looking at that, that's going to be the value of x, the length of x, the maximum of x, and it's still going to be 0 in y because it hasn't moved on the y-axis yet. So if we type in here, click on that icon there, which gives us the line, it automatically gives us the 0 point of x. We need to change that and type in x, mine's L, and then if I tab's the same as enter, it gives me a line, it's the full length of x, and it now is on the starting point of y going down that way. Click on that icon again, and this point here is going to be the furthest point from x, so that'll be x, and also it's the furthest point from y, so that's going to be y. Can you see here? Our line is 3 mil away from the edge of the board, so the router is going to cut off that little bit of fairy bit that we'd have on a board naturally. So you would type in L, you type in X here, then we tab across to that one, and you type in Y for that one, whereas I type in W, and that gives me the X, the maximum to the end corner point here. Notice that we don't give a start point and an end point, we only give the two coordinates for X and Y for the end of a line because we know where the start is. If we come across here, if I go to the line command again, it's going to be 0 in X, so if we put 0 here, and then it's going to be maximum in Y, so we're just going to leave it in as Y, which my W is, and I tab that and you can see it goes over to the maximum here. Line command again. This point here is start of x, which is 0, and the start of y, which is 0. So let's click on 0 here and tab, and that gives us the line to the start point of x and y. Now let's finish off this line here to there. We click on that point, and again we're going to be going x divided by 2, tab and 0, and that finishes off our line. So now we've got a place for the router to follow around that line for the router to follow.